testing. 1, 2, 3.
I
Testing.
think our Heavenly Father, we do thank Thee for Thy blessings to us. We ask Thy guidance and direction throughout this meeting, that Thy name may be honored and glorified. We ask forgiveness of our sins in Jesus' name. She will not be able to be here. Here. You will recall at, I believe it was our March 10th meeting, we had a recommendation for the executive secretary to communicate with the people, the person of the Georgia State College regarding a collegiate or baccalaureate degree program in nursing, which Ms. Atkins did forward to Dr. Noah Langdale on March 25th. She received a communique April 27th saying, dear Ms. Atkins, as you have no doubt already learned, Georgia State College has been approved for a baccalaureate degree program in We plan to staff this program for the 1966-67 academic year and to enroll students in September 1967. As to the associate degree in nursing, there are no plans at the present time at Georgia State. The university system has a committee on nurse education, and Dr. H.B. O'Leary, president of the Medical College, is the chairman of this committee. I believe that a number of associate programs will in turn be established throughout the state, and possibly these will help meet the critical needs of the nursing profession. President Langdell has asked that I reply to your request for consideration of the two-year program. In addition to what I have written above, I may add that Georgia State College will do all within its power to be its service wherever and whenever it can. Sincerely, J.C. Harden Burge, Dean, School of Arts and Science.
May we have the letter read that was written to him, please?
Yes. Dear Mr. Langdell, this is March 25th. The 5th District of the Georgia State Nurses Association went on record on November 8, 1965, to support the Board of Regents to amend the Nurse Practice Act to establish the two-year associate degree program for 1966. The new bill qualification registration 84-1008. This was reaffirmed by the Board of Directors in session on January 10, 1966. In the general opinion of the 5th District Association on January 13, 1966, the following motion was adopted. Quote, that 5th District go on record to endorse and request the establishment of a collegiate school of nursing at the Georgia State College, and that a letter be written to the president of the college advising him of this action. End of quote. We have awaited development before presenting this request to you and hope that it will be interpreted not as a directive but as an affirmation that it is hopeful an expansion of your fine college that consideration will be given to the two-year collegiate school of nursing, and that the 5th District Association may make full support for such a program. Best wishes are extended to you in the school work that you're doing in the educational field. These 2 years, Ms. Karen Atkins, Executive Secretary.
That was a 4-year, not a 2-year. And the motion, was to establish a 4-year collegiate school of nursing.
She stated in the quote, a collegiate school of nursing.
Yeah, but it didn't say 4 years, and then she talks about 2 years all the way through there, and it was 4 year that we were, that's the motion.
The motion verbatim, there in the minutes was stated, read it.
Well, it didn't specify anywhere it was 2 years.
2 years is not a
He
collegiate
answered,
program.
I passed the letter to you, he answered, first of a baccalaureate degree program.
Well, baccalaureate is what we had in mind.
Then he went on to speak as to the associate degree.
We had an outstanding Georgia State last week, to see about entering, and I was told at that time that they will have.
Well, I knew they were established, they were starting the program on the baccalaureate level down there, but we wanted to endorse the baccalaureate program is what we wanted. And whether it got in the minutes or not, I'm not.
I'm confident verbatim from the minutes, Ms. Hudson, and the minutes were approved, so that was the only thing I have to go on. The other part was so badly scratched over the original of it, I don't have it with me. It was very difficult to interpret there. Very difficult, yes, I don't have it with me, but that's from yours.
Well, it was there's some reference there, I think, made in the letter to a 2-year collegiate program, and that, as Ms. Garland has pointed out, there's no such thing as a 2-year collegiate program. and it was the 4-year program we were interested in.
Well, we copied your motions.
Well, we didn't say 2-year I'm looking at it right here, and it doesn't say 2 years in the motion. Motion was made that it go on request the establishment of a collegiate school of nursing at Georgia State College, and a letter be written to the president advising him of this action.
That's exactly as it's worded in his letter.
Well, then there's some other reference down there.
She said she had waited for developments before presenting Mr. Fresh to you and told she was not as directed, and she went on and said, "Your fine college, that consideration will be given to the 2-year collegiate school of nursing."
Well, there's no such thing as a two-year collegiate, so that should be corrected.
Then I would suggest when we get those motions that they be written legibly so we can interpret them, because I have the original, I took it out, went over it as carefully as I could, I took it from the
Well-
other minutes as carefully as we could, we tried to word it as tactfully as we could, so we'll be glad to correct it if you send us a letter, because,
Well, I don't have to write the letter.
well, I wrote it to the very best of my ability there, and I tried to keep it.
Well, there's not a thing in this motion that says anything about a 2-year program. Not one thing.
Well, the motion as adopted, and was indicated there, was followed as verbatim. In the discussion, and it is in quotes, but I would think that the, Dr. Matt Langdale, in first, I believe, yes, would have recognized that the quote was the motion itself, and that the other was further conversation. What's the pleasure of the membership, this year is to correcting this as possible.
Well, there's no point in doing anything about it at this stage. However, I think for the record that we should know there's no such thing as a collegiate 2-year program.
You are endorsing 2 things in there, and I think y'all wanted to call their attention to it, that you were endorsing the bill that was before the General Assembly at that time.
That's not even in these minutes, Miss Atkins. That was a reference of some time back.
In January, you had something in reference.
Here's the minutes.
From the Board of Regents.
Here's the minutes right here.
I have them.
Which minutes for those? January.
There was discussion on the floor, because I remember, I believe it was Ms. Woody raised the question when the motion was made as to what type of program was whoever made the motion, what type of program was she, recommending.
Yes, I remember there was some discussion about it, but there was nothing in the minutes other than it was to endorse a 4-year program. I mean, endorse a collegiate program. And the 2-year program is not considered a collegiate program. It's,
For our minutes here, you wish this letter, the notation made for correction, right?
what? Whatever you want to do about it. It isn't, I think we ought to at least let them know that we know that there's a difference.
Well, I suggested someone who's well-versed on it writes the letter, and I'll be glad to have it.
No, there's no point in writing any other letter.
I copied verbatim the motions that were given, which were changed at least a half a dozen times, scratched out, and in very poor, penmanship. I mean, it's hard to try to interpret it, I know that the secretary had the same trouble. And we tried to write it correctly, and quote exactly all the minutes of approval.
Well, there's nothing in these minutes that says a word about a 2-year program.
You have, 2 sets of minutes, we referred to January, and I think that you're not.
Well, the January is the minutes that I had in because it's not in the minutes. And that's the only one that I had before me. Now, this other, goes way back and takes up something that probably could have been written a long time ago.
Delete the word.
Yes, that's fine. It's all right with me. And there's no point in writing any more down there about it because they've already told us what they're doing. Wouldn't make much difference anyway, except the district was on record as endorsing a collegiate program, 4-year program, I thought. But if it's 4 years, didn't get in there, but certainly the 2-year is not a collegiate program.
I have a communication from the public relations program of ANA and a pamphlet brochure on how we can get nurses we need. I know you all feel like probably running out and ordering enough to see. I'll pass this around and you might make notes if you'd like. An opportunity to see that.
I have just gotten 96 pounds worth of old free material I have. Any of you want it? That's all I order. Any of you want it, it's distribution. I've already carried out as much as I could.
That comes free,
Still have
96
another
pounds?
box full of them.
You gonna pay for hundreds?
No, I get everything we get for free. I have plenty of the organizational charts. They sent me 1,000 of them, and much of the material that many people are interested in.
I have a communication from Western Reserve University regarding a educational film, development study of retarded children. I'll pass this around also for information. Also, communication from Atlanta Municipal Theater regarding group plays, those that might be interested. On April 21st or 22nd, I received a communique from Miss Timestube, who is would like to suggest for all districts, one, if you do not have one, form a committee on nursing and disaster and national defense, and have one program each year devoted to some area of civil defense or disaster. All districts should be aware of the civil defense 200-day hospitals for emergency use, which are at various locations throughout the state. Recent film, Hospital for Disaster, color, 27 minutes, explains the Patrick Hospital program. This film is available through the state health department. If possible, we hope to show this film at the GSMA annual meeting in Nashville. Mr. Lyndon Bill, state health department, has narrated slideshow which explains the health department's civil defense program. This was developed especially for nurses and schools of nursing. Mr. will be glad to present this program at a district meeting. The inclusion from ANA list of things to use and preparing for nursing and national defense. We hope these suggestions and the list will help your district plan for nursing and disaster and national defense, which we on the speakers. Is there a discussion regarding this presentation or any recommendations?
We do not have a committee on the that the state does, but the district is not, and they have indicated like.
Ms. Carter, you're a member of the state committee.
National committee.
Yes, I've been on the national committee for 4 years. We have been trying to get all the districts to develop a committee and program on disaster persons. And I think this being the largest district, we certainly need one in this area.
Madam Chairman, can we, suggest to Ms. Hannah to have a program on it? You know, I mean, she's asking in that letter if we were to vote and have one program a year on it, can we ask the program chairman if Chris is planning to have a program?
Lewis, Bill, and on that committee.
Didn't we used to have one?
Never
We
had.
planted a study at it in the private, I knew one time we appointed somebody in private did it to it, but whether nothing's ever done, I don't think.
Well, we had quite a study on it one time in private duty. I remember going to several meetings. Yeah, it was some.
I'm wondering if simply to refer this letter to the program committee and get their recommendations might be appropriate. So I'd like to see.
Sounds good.
Really, I think it's a
If there's no objection to this can be accepted as a suggestion. Approve it or not. Thank you. I have, received 4 or 5 copies of the final report. I received them this morning in the mail from, addressed to the chairman, 5th District and Board of Directors from the Study Committee on Structure and Function of ANA, American Nurses. This is the final report. Is it your pleasure that I read this at this time? We have about 2 pages here, I believe. This is from the chairman of the, special study committee, Ms. Marilyn Rosecrans herself. Like for me to read it?
Yes, it is.
The 5th District Study Committee on the function of American Nurses Association met twice since our last report, January 13th, 1966. The changes in the proposed amendments to the American Nurses Association bylaws were received at the first meeting and reviewed. The general feeling among the members of this committee was that the changes in the American Nurses Association proposals that were effective at their January meeting answered many questions that had been voiced by 5th District membership. This is a study committee, and the recommendations in favor, I assume that is for, or against the proposed changes will not be in order. We simply represent the major issues of change in structure as we see them. Structural changes of the American Nurses Association major items. 1. Reapportionment of the House of Delegates decreases the overall size of the cost and changes the ratio to one delegate per 200 members in the state association. Two, American Nurses Association Board of Directors reduced 6 officers, 10 elected by the House. Three, establishment of commissions, 9 members each, economic and general welfare, nursing education, nursing service, comprised of experts in these fields, will set standards, promote, and protect the economic and general welfare. 3 members of each commission will be elected by the Board of Directors to serve 4 years. Majority of members of each commission will be elected. Board of Directors will establish qualifications for commission members. 4, change of occupational sections to divisions on practice. The Board of Directors, American Nurses Association, will establish fees required to affiliate with more than 2 divisions on practice. Each division will have executive committee of 5 members who shall be elected on annual business meetings. A, community health. B, geriatric nursing. C, maternal and child health. D, medical surgical nursing. D, psychiatric and mental health. 5, establish council of division chairman for coordination and uniformity. Council will set standards for appointments of fellows in the academy. Endorse candidates for fellows in the academy. 6, create Academy of Nursing to accord recognition to expert practitioners in nursing, members selected by governing council of the academy. 7, the name Special American Nurses Association and State Board of Nursing to Council of State Board of Nursing. Accordance towards recognition in the formal structure of American Nurses Association. 8, occupational forum will be held at convention. Open only to members of appropriate state sections, and in those instances where organized state sections do not exist, members identified by their state association as practitioners in the appropriate occupational field. 2 areas that still need clarification are: 1, what are the channels of communication from the national organization to the district division practice? 2, the powers vested in the Board of Directors may be more than is desirable for the organization. Membership at large may need more participation. As a committee, we can report with favorable enthusiasm toward proposed changes was felt both in committee meetings and among the membership of the 50th sections of 5th District, with whom we were privileged to meet. The greatest enthusiasm was shown regarding the changing focus toward clinical nursing groups, presented by Ms. Natalie Martinez, Chairman. I'm sure this must be a correction, rather than 15 sections, I'm sure it must be 5. Now this is the committee that has been the committee for 3, just in the year.
Just, well, 2 years prior to this year.
Yes.
And then there was a carryover of members from the 2 previous years into this committee.
I move that this report be received and placed on file. And it's a double barrel motion. I'll stop right there.
Motion that this report be received and placed on file.
district, but I do not have it registered. If we hope to be in, if she gets the call in time.
Very good. Well, we have time on the agenda there. Report, Ms. Atkins, you church lady report, or do you have church something further? to
No,
add?
I gave you a written report, we have 1,072 members, let's call one more after the little central was made this morning. It's been as busy as we could for, and we feel that the nurse week program is coming along well. Later on, when you come to the report, they want to refer to that, report, to approve the 54 members. It's just routine activities that have been continued, and very, very, right.
How does that compare, Mr. Atkins, with this time last year?
We're 101 scared of this in membership. Our goal is 1,300, and we have now 1,071. Well, last year we only had 1,128 in all, so we are hopeful. And membership is very,
Does this number include this list, or is this will this be
yes, that
added?
includes that list. They have already been, it's all out, they've been included when you come to the report.
Thought maybe you could add some more when this was approved.
128, lot so much.
We have the report from standing committee, programs, Ms. Hannah. Madam President, the board, the program certainly has a verified favor of the executive secretary and implementation of ongoing activities. Certainly, given the pleasure of the career committee, the members of the program committee, I believe it's going to be a successful, it's going to be anticipated, the clinical specialist and interesting, and it's been quite widely publicized, there's been some late support, and this office will be able to get it here. We anticipate excellent attendance at the meeting, St. Mark's Methodist Church on Thursday, May the 12th, 1966. We feel we have a very strenuous program, and I know it's a long remembered by the district. I do believe the committee is going to be compelled to bring recommendations, and I cannot speak over them as chairman. We experienced great difficulty in engaging teachers in the district short notice, so there may be favor on the part of the board if we could have the prerogative of engaging teachers prior to the session or the yearly session. This will enhance our program, but I will bring the best recommendations that I have. Thank you, Ms. Green.
Cleaning, Ms. Atkins. We haven't had this real cleaning, the director is ready to go to prayer now. I didn't pick it up this morning. And you notice in my little report, we sold $425 worth of ads, including $100 ad from Abby Wynn. They are, only new ones that we had this year. So we think that'll take care of all the cleaning costs. Other than that, we haven't had any real cleaning, we had to manage that to offset. No cleaning.
And that is what we are called to do to get those things, so, yes, I'm aware. And I'm in the road, so we appreciate it. Bylaws, Ms. Thurston.
The Committee on Bylaws held one meeting with 8 members present. Communications from the ACP Public Health and Private Duty sections were presented. It was agreed not to consider any changes in the bylaws of the 5th District at this meeting, since it is possible that another meeting may be held after the biennial. It was not possible to schedule a meeting with the Function Study Committee of ANA, so there was some discussion of the proposed changes in the ANA bylaws. The members felt that more time for more study was needed. The chairman pointed out that much thought should be given before endorsing the proposed structure, since the new structure will add 14 present board of directors, which number 22 at present, and 89 officers plus will be added by the new structure, which could mean that dues to AMA could increase 4 times the present amount of $12.50. Dues to AMA could increase to $50 or more at the next biennial 1968 in order to pay the expenses of AMA. It was voted not to make any recommendations until after the study committee makes its report.
Finance, again, Ms. May.
She didn't have no report on that until the budget was passed.
Legislation, Chevron was actually larger than this. So, they agreed that if the practical could be written at the same size as the undergraduate was written on their Chevron, that they would accept it. And then license and nurse be just a slight bit smaller. So I made a trip back out. This is the fourth trip out to East Point. And I think the man thinks that he's really dealing with a confused bunch of people. But anyway, they also requested that instead of it being a blue line around the chevron, that it be white, so it'll just, won't show up as being such a big patch. So this is as it stands. We're getting another drawing, and I'll bring it to the board when I get it back, so that we can approve it before it's taken back again. The regular meeting of the Registry Committee was held in the conference room at Georgia Baptist Hospital on Tuesday, April the 26th at 4 p.m. A letter was read from Ms. Lorena Altman, who is using her vacation and sick leave to cover the time spent at Warm Springs as an inpatient for much-needed therapy. She has arthritis. While she is away, the registry is using Mrs. Brandenberger to fill in during her absence, and will use Mrs. Brandenberger to fill in as relief registrar as long as she is available. I do not have this written in the minutes, but I talked to Mr. Hooker this morning, and he contacted Ms. Green, and she was at a registrar some time ago, and she would be able to relieve in the absence of Ms. Brandenberger for about 3 months. Ms. Brandenberger will only be in the city until the 22nd of this month. So that would need to be approved by this lady. No vacations can be planned at the moment because we have not yet acquired a permanent relief registrar. Well, this would probably take care of vacations. Mrs. Helen Pearson and Miss Alice Morgan have agreed to spend some time at the registry to become familiar with its operation in case there is an emergency need for either of them to serve. It is clearly understood that this is an emergency measure only. There was a discussion about accepting registrants to be serviced from the registry. There was the feeling that the registry has been used as a dumping ground in the past. In the future, proficiency and qualification records will be used to screen out the undesirables. Belonging to the nurse's professional registry is a privilege that belongs to the skillful, competent practitioner who does private duty because it's the field she chooses, and one who meets the qualifications found in FSNP for private duty nursing. And I quote, a private duty nurse is a registered professional nurse who independently contracts to give expert nursing care to one patient. This permits the nurse to utilize professional knowledge and skills to the fullest extent and to assume responsibility for the total care of the nursing care of the patient. The proper selection of registrants for safe nursing care is a step towards the implementation of FSNP for the practice of private duty nursing. To further implement FSNP, the registry committee is very busy, and they've had just many meetings, rewriting rules and policies and procedures for the registry. The joint meeting of the registry committee and the advisory committee was an informal meeting held at the board room at Constantine and Infirmary April the 12th. That was before the registry committee meeting at 4 p.m. Many of the members expressed ideas and suggestions which were thought-provoking and stimulating. A subcommittee composed of 3 members from each committee and the director of registry was appointed to study further proposals suggested by members. This committee met on Wednesday, April the 27th, to establish standards of levels of nursing and patient needs. Since the proposed rules were to implement standards, these were reviewed by the committee and suggestions made. There was a call meeting of the registry committee on Monday, May 2nd at 4 p.m. to work on the rules. It was a very profitable session. Following recommendations from the regular meeting of the registry committee on April the 26th, recommend that the registrant at the registry be 70, except under extenuating circumstances such as health and so forth. That due, number two, that due to the numerous complaints, Miss Annie Laurie Bryant, Senior, registry fee for 1956 be refunded, and request that she be refused membership for 1956 unregistered. Miss Bryant, has been before the registry committee in the past, and, there's been quite a problem. She has a problem with also a nurse, and, they come from North Carolina. But, there's just been, so many complaints about her until, the registry committee felt that they had to make this recommendation. I believe we have this report. First, we need to discuss or have some, action regarding, relief as relating to Mrs. Rand. Is that correct? I believe we need your, this committee needs a recommendation or support with regards to relief for Mrs. Rand.
Miss Hester Wynn, she can work part-time for about 3 months.
I mean, this board has to approve her.
I move that we approve Mrs. Rand as we will call her relief register.
No, what she's doing is taking
Relieving
Miss
her
Orton's
relief.
place at night.
Oh.
When Miss Orton comes back until Miss Rand leaves, Miss Orton will, work in that capacity.
Temporary.
Yeah, it's just temporary, really. And
Orton's
we
taking
felt
treatment.
that it would be better to, use the salary, Miss Orton, than to pay her $20 a day if we call her relief register.
Well,
all we have to
that's
pay her
in the rules,
$20
I
a
think,
day.
if they relieve more than a month at a time, they go on the regular.
The motion is that we approve the, temporary appointment of Mrs. Rand.
I don't know her first name, I've forgotten her first. Vesta Lynn.
This is Mrs. Vesta Lynn, and she will work 11 to 7, that's the only time she'll work. Is there a second for this?
I'll second.
The motion to approve Mrs. Vesta Lynn for temporary employment at the registry for 11 to 7. Miss Orton will have to stay longer than what's earlier anticipated. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Approved. Then we have, recommendations from the registry committee. One, recommend that the age limit for registrants at the registry be 70, except under extenuating circumstances.
Could I may be out of order here, but I'm wondering, extenuating circumstances makes me nervous because I don't know what they are. I don't know if it's drawn up in criteria for them. Could the chair entertain, an amendment to this? It's something, and this is just off the top of my head, but, that the age of 70 be the cutoff point for, registrants, period, that exceptions to this, might be made, by the board of directors of the district. This would seem to me that would bring it again to this board for this registry committee recommendation. It seems it would tighten this a little bit. I don't really know what extenuating circumstances
Actually,
are.
I think the motion actually read, and I didn't put it all in here, maybe I should. To be decided later, so you will have decided later to let the board decide, so that'll take
probably quite emotionally involved in an elderly nurse who still feels that she needs to work or that she wants to work. Whereas her own colleagues, if it's handled by the registry committee, these are more apt to be colleagues, contemporaries who've worked with her. I think that we can have a more objective sort of decision, and for that reason, I would like to see it in the board drivers or some such, shall I say, removed group from the committee.
Recommendations has come from the registry committee. Now, I believe I'm right, I can check here that our suggestions are recommended alternative, suggestions and not. Do you know the intent, it is, of this?
The intent is that we have nurses who are 84 years old on the registry, and the intent is to not have them cut off at 70.
Your registry committee wishes that this be cut off at 70.
That's right, if we don't feel that.
Unless
Except under
they're in good
extenuating
health, the
circumstances.
committee would weigh in anybody's,
Take an individual case, decide that she's able to do the
if she's in good health and good mental condition, then the registry committee would recommend. Okay.
Well, now, that's something the board can.
But the board has to decide.
Older than 70.
She don't know.
This is gonna cut them off before 70 if you want somebody, I don't think it's just they help, it's just.
Well, now, I guess the intent would be that they can work after 70 if they're healthy and, qualified.
To qualify, that was always around that. We had registrar down there one time that was much older, but finally we had to, ask her to resign because her mental condition got better.
They have a recommendation, a rule already that they be discouraged,
Yeah.
or encouraged to take
That was-
social security. I
that's
think
been there
it's
a long
That's
time.
in the
in the
policy board.
I wonder if we can get legally involved, by the cutoff, because now, according to civil rights, you can an applicant how old they are when it comes to employment, what's the legal?
Can't ask how old they are.
You
can't?
You cannot show on the application. Well, why?
How much? I never heard of
That's what I
that.
heard the other night, and he said, if you cannot put it on the application,
You can put the birth date though, can't you?
both of them things.
I wouldn't, but we're under civil service and it's on our form.
You have in your policies there, that say an annual
It's on your
physical
form?
or
Yes,
an
the birth date.
Would that bring up?
Then you can sign up and find out what
The
that
only
is.
thing about
And
this
that ought to
kind
be
of thing,
law.
who
I think
enforces
it'd be
it?
legal. A lot of people won't employ you.
And who really had, this is the real problem here, Ms. Atkins, as I see it, that there is no one to enforce it, and it may be a perfectly good rule with a good intent, but no one enforces it. You order it done, are you going
Well,
to
we,
pay for it?
you know,
You
if
order
we're
it,
on
make
civil
this person
service,
pay for it, you still get involved. Well,
It'd
there's
be
a few
legal.
rules here writing that only registrars who, make that first application have to, there's rules. The old rule that everybody has to have one every year is illegal.
Even it just been indicated.
Now,
Yeah.
there's a technique that, the registry committee could probably employ that, well, respected, and bring these reports to the board, would be that when an individual reaches this age, she would make a request, and she would document her request with a statement from her physician and say recommendation from two agencies that employ her. And then they would take from, with the longevity of man, I believe we're gonna have more and more people that are biologically young. Some of our greatest confidential information is 70 and 80. You would care about people over 65.
And I agree with this, very much. Philosophically, I'm opposed to the contribution of the aged individual. However, I really think that the physical fitness, and
the thing I was trying to get out, the recommendation that came from the chair of the registry committee, and, that we have a cutoff at 70, and goes on to say, except under extenuating circumstances. Now, well, see, again, Ms. Weiss, I think I personally would say it's a very good point here, that someone other than the people who work with, without bringing that out again, help decide who beyond age 70 remains. So we have the motion now, and it has been seconded, and we're going to
If I wouldn't get into trouble, I'm afraid the rest of the committee would say they didn't decide that.
yes, this was my protection.
Well, if we can pick up and simply say some of the fact that the extenuation for service, or extenuating circumstances for service, beyond, age 70 or registrar, be, determined by, or be approved individually by the board of directors. I think that this is the intent. Now, whether I said it well. We can't get into that.
You can't,
How are we going to determine that?
We have proficiency in qualification records now that all necessary corrections fill out on all parts, even if this has been going on for several years.
So you just ask them how to, whether they word it up, or to do, I want to know.
This is just one way it could be done, that this proficiency record, we could take the whole case, the register committee could prepare the case and bring these proficiency records to the board and anything else, doctors report, and well, we need to fill it out in minutes or in,
Madam Chairman, as Ms. Honeycutt has indicated, this is a report of the registry committee, and we have no right to change that report. Now, we can make a motion, as I understand it, later, and do whatever, make any recommendation back there to the committee, but we can't change that report.
We can't amend her motion.
No, we can't.
Ms. Honeycutt didn't even make a motion, you did this recommendation, this report, the board can make a motion. And when you make a motion, I understood that the board has the final authority on all of this, and it's not the registry committee, all we do is just recommend. You didn't even make a motion, you recommend, the board has the authority to change, recommend, or do anything else.
I think it'd be good to communicate back to these people if they really want to know what their feeling is, or really what they wanted, so we're asking, so we know what we're.
Here, I think, and, don't you think this is what the intent was of the committee? They just wanted to place nursing care. This is what we're interested in, place nursing care, so whatever the board feels.
Somebody that was entitled to take it.
That's right.
According to our bylaws, I believe, I'm reading here, that the direct authority and legal responsibility for the administration of the registry are registered shall rest with the board of directors of this association. But then we have a motion as to how the recommendation. within the district. Any discussion, further discussion?
Before I, both of you as an individual, before I, as an individual, I can vote on that, I would have to know what the legal implications may be, because these people, I agree with you on state nurses, and we should get it this time. As long as they needed it, we got that from state nurses. But I'm wondering if we were running into the legal difficulties as far as depriving these people, that's what they're gonna say, they're going to their lawyers saying, you're depriving them of a livelihood. And what leg do we have to stand on?
Can't the register set up standards for protecting registrants for the individual?
I think we can set them up, but I think we need legal advice and see if we can order. And really, in light of civil rights, they say it's a civil way, and people their age and terms and employment. I never died, but I heard it too. But I think we ought to find that if this is true, if it's in the law, that you cannot, or you can violate. No, there's here, it's a real touchy subject, I think we try to put it in law, but you know, there is a law.
There's this angle to it, it isn't saying that people can't work, but it's just saying that they can't belong to the registry that the district runs, that we are not willing to take the responsibility. They could, at somebody else's discretion.
Well, I know the doctors have sued hospitals, Board of Governors and hospitals, because they have been asked to be removed from the staff. They have sued the hospital, their argument is that you have deprived me of my livelihood. And he said something else too, but that's his profession, that's what he does. But I see your point about there's a hospital to work, but if they're trying to do nurses, this is what they've done all their lives, is this realistic? I don't know whether this is the right way to get at it, it is a problem. And I don't feel that they ought to be working, but is this the way to approach the problem? Is this the
Sister, I'm in agreement, this is a great concern, I think it's, the people who have insight into the problem are not the problem. It's those people who are 84 or whatever, and really, this,
It's a real
I can
great
see that
problem.
conversation being mentioned, but again, we don't have exact ways of doing this.
They will work with our registry, they follow our rules.
We might take into consideration also that these private duty nurses who are on the registry do not have retirement. I mean, there's no set-up retirement for them, no pensions or anything else. So some of them have to work. Some of them will have to work for their livelihood. Now, I know there's all angles to these. And they go get Medicaid.
Security, there's some of them work to make that extra $500 to $600. They need this, and I know someone that do that just for a certain length of time, that they're allowed to do, and that means they can't, that just means they can't do that.
You can't even make that $1,500 that you're allowed on.
They
can make it, but they need to want something on the registry.
They bring it back to the registry.
I think what we have to do is one, that we're going to anniversary of 70 years, that person will be notified, to please submit the policy. And we can look for the time, we'll put it in the if there's enough
Who, the board or the?
by a member of the registry committee, or by the president of the board. I mean, we can make it whomever. All right, then, the legal advice, through president. Or her president. Relative to this matter. You want that written?
Well,
That's paying, that's all right.
believe I'm right, this is just for information and discussion, it's probably out of order since the motion's withdrawn, but I know they do have a cutoff period at Emory for professors, and that is a prerogative of the university to say. And one particular one that I know was no longer eligible at Emory, and he went to a smaller school and did some good work. There were no legal complications there that I know of.
Miss Wells, that's where he's being paid a salary, he's employed by him.
Yeah.
We're self-employed. See, there's a difference there.
It may not be a problem, but I'd feel a whole lot better, and like
I think you
Frank
have a
mentioned, it's
point.
not that urgent, this has been a long time problem. What is the solution? And if we can set up our rules and regulations, fine, we set it up. We'll know that we're right, and if we run into a problem, we go back to the lawyer and say, well, you know, how do we handle this? But if somebody comes to us and wants to hear the full board and says, we should file here, what did we say? That's our rule, and I'm not going to do it. And I feel like we probably gonna say we can set up our rules and regulations, so I feel a whole lot better. You know, you're concerned about civil rights.
It was been part of the
And I'm
time.
concerned about the civil rights too, because I personally know that we cannot show them the effort. I'd like to know that too.
I move that legal advisement,
I second it, I don't believe anybody seconded that.
I move that legal advisement be sought as to proper procedure and to age qualification for registry membership. That's the last person.
No.
Yeah, be quiet, you might need to make another one. Tonight, this is your night.
Well, I heard it could be it.
Madam Chairman,
Age limitation.
Age limitations for the qualification. I guess limitations is a better word. Uh-huh.
I move that legal advisement be sought as to proper procedure as to age limitation for registry membership.
Membership is what?
Registry members.
Registry. Is there a reduction? Is there discussion further on this motion?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to offer amendment to the motion, to amend the motion by adding be sought by the chairman of the registry committee. Because she's the one that's going to have to go back to the registry committee and interpret it, and she has direct contact there, it seems that she could make a better report.
And discussion.
I'm seconding that.
Can you give us some written?
I did,
Can just be written into the,
Then I'll read it again. I move that legal advisement be sought as to proper procedure as to age limitation for registry membership. And then
insert after the word sought
yeah,
by the chairman of the registry committee, is that it?
yeah. That's it, Karen.
is there any discussion to the amended? application for registry membership. Is there further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Second part of our recommendation, due to numerous complaints, Ms. Ann Laura Bryan Senior, registry fees for 1966 duly funded, and a request that she be refused membership for 1966 on the registry.
And she's used the register how long?
You know, I thought that I
Used part.
5 months.
That's right, just part of it.
so anxious to get rid of it.
Let's give half of it. 5 months.
Well, she's gotten service from the register for this many months.
That's about legal.
That's all right.
You mean, she couldn't do anything about it if she saw her attorney, did she pay her dues and?
Refund them. They'll
Well, what
refund
time
them.
do you get rid of it? What time do you-
You don't have to
Due
tell her,
to members' complaints,
you have to tell her what the complaints are and let her, maybe let her prove.
she's already been before the registry committee, I'm told.
Oh, she has, a couple of years ago, where she could come again if she asked permission, we wouldn't mind hearing it, but
Or did you have to tell her the
when
complaints
she
are, and
appeared
let her prove
before,
you're wrong?
she didn't even talk with good sense. You'd ask her something, she'd go off on a
I mean, I think
tangent.
if you did this to me, I would.
That's Miss Zerk.
Oh, listen, you already heard her.
When she was called before.
Yeah, just ask
The,
Miss Zerk.
the registrant has the prerogative to ask for a hearing before the registry committee.
Yes, she can.
And, these complaints are validated as well as when I was a member of this committee. These were validated in writing. Complaints were, presented to the registrant, and, I felt that they were given an opportunity, certainly at that time, to try to account for any of the complaints registered against them.
This was discussed at the registry committee meeting, and the reason that, that motion was written was that this is an emotionally disturbed person, and has already received help, and you just go round and round and round. But
She'll call first one hospital and ask for a case, and then she'll call another hospital and ask for a case, and she'll double every chance she gets, and she just nearly hounds the nursing service officers to death about wanting work. And she certainly don't have to work 2 shifts, and she's not capable of working 2 shifts, and when she comes on duty and you go to give a report to her, she never listens to a report. She'll just talk about a new hat she bought or something.
What about a nursing kid?
Well, everybody complains, even the floor nurses all complain and say that she's always out on their necks and wanting, they all say she's not capable. She tries to find out everything that's on the floor and what's going on, and before we had trouble by a complaint about, her trying to get information. See, she has a daughter, and her daughter is an excellent nurse, but her daughter's kind of hard to cope with too. I have worked with her daughter, and she really is an excellent nurse. She has her master's degree and some on her PhD. But the daughter, I think, has a habit of being sick and coming off cases a lot. But when you're on a case with her, she really knows what she's doing, and she really takes care of the patient. But I can't say that for the mama, and the mother's the one that complains about.
Madam Chairman, couldn't we, go through with that on the assumption that she has broken the register rules? And, I would also like to urge the register committee to give us some rules, so we'll really have some.
I understand she'll call Georgia Baptist, and then she'll turn around and call the cab general and hound them for a case, and then call the register and ask them why they haven't got a case for them. They all say that she's just about running ragged.
I believe this has been certainly the practice and policy for some while, and we removed it, I believe, before we recruited at the last meeting, we made it policy. hours from grade school, and to return her years, they did not accept her years after return.
She is on duty grade 11 at some nursing home, incomplete charge, which is, an alcoholic and overdose and non-use
But I know that when she was called before the board before, the daughter called and threatened to get an attorney.
That's the reason that we wrote it like that. You know, it felt like somebody just said they were running out South Carolina, North Carolina.
We got to have the proof first.
You don't have to read it, you know. I don't know whether we have.
Miss Holly was at the meeting and said it verbally. I wonder if she sent anything in writing. I don't know.
I did not have a letter, you know, no. We had to
I think we'd have to have a letter from them, wouldn't we?
Well, I'm sure that they was on fire, I mean, they're all probably.
We need to ask for some new ones, so that
Maybe
we,
want something to come back with, you say, I've heard all this, you doesn't.
we haven't got a leg to stand on unless we got something in writing, if we don't want her.
I mean, sure, but must, you know, have it in writing in case you.
I think that's what the legal thing you have to do, but it can't be shown to her.
Well, I know, like you said, you could read it in case you come, but.
For your own protection.
It would seem to me that there must be directors of nursing service there too here, my lord. And, it would seem to me that in an instance like this, before we would see the registry committee as an arm of this organization, out on a limb, that these people would be willing to give a little testimony as to the fact that this woman is not acceptable, as a person who comes into the institution as a supervisor nursing care home. Even if it's not written and on file, and I know that this sounds like, well, you know, you're hoping it's gonna be that way. But am I wrong in the assumption that you, Ms. Pope, and Mrs. Christian might take the stand as, do you know this person?
I think this thing's written on file, that's what it has to be.
Or that you would make a
So
statement
I
to
think
this?
we've already done this, but my point is, what are the rules and regulations for this, for dropping these people? I think it's like, if we don't, if we get so many letters of complaint back to you, or if, we don't measure up,
Well, we have,
in the appeal before the district commission,
as far as the rules stand now, it's only in meetings that are being written, people get as many as two, deficiencies and qualifications references, quite just a minute. They will not be accepted on the
will not be accepted in the policy document.
will always be on your business drawing, including your cost for the community.
So the alternative here then is to let her remain on for this, the balance of this year, and then not to accept her again.
Well, they were gonna refund her money.
No, I said the alternative.
Alternative, and that's what I was.
I'm just wondering if,
In the meantime, if she can take care, she's not good. We have sent a letter, I think she was using a letter to the regulator, and now she doesn't have to sign it.
7 months left, isn't it?
No.
7 months left in this year.
There's a question that Mike had raised here, now I personally was involved with this some while ago, as to whether or not it is current. I shouldn't write it this moment,
No, we would have to have something in writing current.
so,
I
I
just
bring
remember
this
the-
to the board members that, before we have been supported, as far as I know, with, Validate's statement. And, I would raise the question as to whether or not this is current. If not, I'm sure that the registry, chief registrar would move on to ask for current evaluation.
We have one, rule, a motion that was made by President Hall before she left, that anyone that was voluntarily registered, that a letter be written to all of the others who participated in the you know, that they'd be afraid of this person. In the little green book that we used to have on our file library, we used to read, I just put it in there, when talking, when talking over here, something to put.
Insert the word current document.
Current, thank you, current, and if it's not available, that they make it available to any business. Someone could do it, like, there are hospitals that said, do not send her back to this hospital, and another hospital say that, or she won't be sending her.
Take care of her, put it in writing, put it in writing, not to send it back.
I can sincerely say
Well, do they have the power to act between now and our next board meeting? Which it won't be until September, and then she won't.
It's automatic, if no hospital will take her. If no organized nursing service will take her, the registry can't send her out unless it's to a home.
That might be bad.
Yeah, that's
Probably enough supervision.
And then she only has about 3 more months before the year's over, September, October, November, December.
She does have more of that too, because of these
Oh, for telephone? They'll say, huh?
if we approve the memberships, it seems to me like we can reject them too. We have to approve the memberships when they come in
We've already approved her for this year, that's the problem.
We didn't reject it, when it
Already
comes
approved,
around.
now we've got to give that money back to Tell Her Wine. Whereas next year, we wouldn't have to approve it, we could Tell Her Wine in.
There's another thing too, if she can't have membership in the registry, then she certainly should not have membership in the district either, is that correct?
That should be elected. I mean, we don't make any refunds on ours unless we disapprove them, as far as the membership. If we decline that membership, we can send it back to them. But because we're on a set budget, just because they change positions and do other types of work, we don't have to.
doesn't give them anything to definitely go on, though, does it? Will it have to come back to the board then? Practice nursing or not, because she's not licensed to practice nursing.
I guess I should put the opinion saying that,
Yes.
that way.
But do they change it and bring it back to the board or to?
Or to act upon it when they get the evidence.
I would put bring back to the board, but that is September. If this woman is worse than she was, if this is time, or if it's something, but she won't be flexible when anyway. Well, maybe we
Do what?
back to the board and let the hospital come with it. Well, nurses,
I would raise a question here, from experience with this, then does this lady, if she can't go to the hospital, she, I can't think of the better word, if she doesn't come back to strike for assignment, and also apparently, I mean, I wondered if that might. They won't give her a job. You gotta have something to tell them. See, this is what you do, always, practice nurses, they shouldn't have, you know.
I think that motion said something about practice nursing. We can't say whether she can practice nursing or not, because if she's licensed to do, we can't stop that, but we can keep her off of our register.
well, I just said, life of qualification, something in writing as to her life of qualification to practice nursing. I mean, the complaints, in other words, that we're getting, we don't have any criteria that they, to measure this by, but are there letters in the file saying that she is inadequate, or what do the letters say? Do they just say, don't send her to St. Joseph, or don't send her to Oklahoma? This is not any information really, or does it say such and such that she is?
Somebody didn't do.
That's what I'm about to say, we can't just say that.
I'm afraid most of it's just verbal. I'm afraid they don't have it in writing. Nobody wants to put things in writing. I can see how many nursing services will. Not many. Ms. Pope and our main standby about really giving us facts.
And that moves the register from the register committee to Ms. Pope.
She has brought her complaints in writing where the others have not.
But I think it should.
The others have had plenty and they should bring them in writing, but Ms. Pope did bring them in writing and told us why. And not just say don't send her anymore. She gave some reasons.
But I believe mine is not current.
No, yours was back before.
And I have forwarded it.
I don't believe we've got it in writing currently.
And she hasn't been bothering you lately?
I mean, I can't say, but I
To
mean, they
produce
didn't say
anything.
they had it at that meeting, anything in writing like it. It was all verbal. Well, that would be within this year then.
So the motion, we have at present with second is that the register committee investigates whether current documented evidence is on file regarding lack of qualifications and misapplied practice nursing and the evidence is not available to obtain it and bring information back to the board. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Carried. And I believe Ms. Honeycutt, that takes care of the recommendations. Thank you for your report. Public relations, Mrs. Hanson.
Ms. Olber's on that committee, she might tell you a little bit about it. She and Ms. Hanson did the newspapers, and Ms. Rose and I went to
September, maybe it's in tonight's paper, since it wasn't in yesterday. And we will cover on, Thursday morning's paper, either the Journal Wednesday evening, or who the nominees for Nurse of the Year for our district will be, and there will be a picture and the selection of the nominee in the Friday paper. And that's what we do, I hope it comes out, but we have talked, oh, the little girl that we talked to, Jean Tyson, did tell us that she was quite interested when we talked to her about the man and wife nurse police at VA, and she wants to call them and interview them, and if possible, give us a feature story on that this weekend. Now, I have not talked to them, I wasn't able to reach them, to see if, we did go through with that, and if we will have a feature story on the husband and wife nursing in Mississippi.
We also got, Sue Patterson, they were courteous enough to get charter a bus to the St. Joseph Choir. I thought that was a very nice thing for them to offer to do, to take them down to the program. I believe, Abby Lynch was giving us the longest, well, Miss Nate said that they had already made, Abby Lynch, a rather unusual thing about that, you know, he wanted to give these Bible pages away, and he wanted me to address some letters to the nurses telling them about it. Well, we couldn't do it. That was against our ethical code. So he wanted to pay for one issue of Anita, but of course we didn't have enough to see it through, so the only thing we knew to do was go ahead and give us an ad in the directory. So he's given us $100 ad. Incidentally, they have given 6,000 volumes to the Los Angeles Medical Library. He has plastic surgery clinic there. He's very interested in nurses. And when we were talking about the ad the other day, we mentioned that the church only had 2 little consoles. He said we could have $300 shift of silver, anything we had, tables, we had 8,000 punch cards, we could have anything that we wanted. But Miss Mace had already made arrangements, and we thought it was a nice thing for them to do, that they would deliver it and pick it up. And he does a great deal of work for the patients, this and nurses, when we can't afford to pay like they do such a nice service. So I think Abby Lynch will be a friend.
Report on special committees, committee on professional practice.
Special meeting has not been, there's no report this time. That's where this, is coming very well on the agenda, but making rounds and getting us trouble.
I saw Ms. Ryan on Friday, and she said that she hoped to get it done in this area soon. Advisory committee to the registry, Ms. Hannah. Careers, and Mrs. Lane. I think, all of you, the only thing I'd like to point out, Mrs. Lane, has worked through your committee, the program committee, her committee, and, I believe all of you surely have had, now, all of the details of nursery relates to the career committee and the program committee. Insurance and sick taxes, and, study committee on functions of AMA, and we have a report, included that, for communications. Report of section, VACP, Ms. Brian.
My report is in 2 sections. First, we've had regular meetings. We have had our final meeting for until the annual meeting in fall. I have a question that I'd like to address to the board, and that is whether or not, what is the deadline for submitting of names to the state, the GSNA, for suggestions for appointment to the board of exams?
We've already had the deadline, supposed to have been
Thank you.
March the 10th. However, we sent out all the notices and asked them to have them back by the 26th of April. We've had some late ones come in since then, but we will bring up the fact that we need 2 more people to put on that ballot. It has not gone in, it goes in June the 1st.
Well, the
We
EAC
made the
said-
deadline so we could
seat herself or for reappointment, is the better, and for Sister Mary Bonaventure. These two names, I'll submit this as a recommendation from the EAC section that has had its approval.
We have that previous report.
Yes, this is an addendum to our previous report.
The, board of miscellaneous,
This list will be
where it
sent
goes
out.
to the government.
I will not take any more after tonight, because I've got to send out and wait till they get back and have this by the first of June. And then many other deadlines between that, this time and that, we've got check and see we get all the things.
I seem to be out of motion forms, not motion forms, but,
You make a suggestion, that's not even a motion, you're suggesting it.
but I'm bringing it officially from the EAC section that these two names be appended to the list. Sister Mary Bonaventure and Mrs. Bonaventure. Thank you.
The administrative section, I believe you got a report.
Yes, Hill. The April meeting of the National Service Administrators, Fifth District, GSMA, held a general meeting at 6:30, April 4th, 1966. 37 persons were in attendance. Ms. Nan Springfield spoke on the AMA position paper. Ms. Carlson spoke approach. Two recommendations were made. Motion was made and carried. The Fifth District NSA section recommended to the GSMA NSA section that a letter of appeal for $2 per member be sent to all members of the state section so that the NSA delegates may be financed for the convention. Motion was made and carried. The delegates representing the NSA section be free to exercise their best judgment in voting at the AMA convention. She's actually standing, but she really is standing because the other one is right.
So the first, recommendation, I think, I don't know what involvement the board is here, was declared that the Fifth District section recommended the GSMA section that a letter of appeal for $2. This is in order for the section to do that, it is their section of business. And then the second recommendation, motion was made and carried that the delegates recommend that the NSA section be free to exercise their best judgment in voting at the AMA convention. Is there any discussion on these recommendations? I don't believe there is any. Actually, there's five. These are recommendations from the section as relates to their section. Any discussion? Alderman Carrington, part of this fundraising.
Ms. Lewis, that's selling hose and handkerchiefs and candies, which we did at one time for the business fund.
Members on for a donation for supporting our delegates.
Not really fundraising, is it? I mean, just sort of asking for donations.
What was it done? Was it done? How was it?
The other did, the other than fragrance and packaging.
Was it in town to do it? Thank you. Oh, sounds like a stretch.
General duty, Mrs. Thornton.
She was not able to be here.
They had a meeting with me, they told me, we went to it, we did, we went
regular meetings, and at the last one, the April one, we moved it up from Thursday to be able to attend the Hot Symposium that they had at the Academy, and we went as a section, about 8 or 9 of us, I guess. And then in May, we're working on a workshop on the workman's compensation insurance, and I think that we'll use that for our meeting for the June. We'll just move it up, because it's going to be the 27th, and on the state level, they want the workshop on the workman's compensation. And our attendance has been, like it always has been, average quorum. That's it. Madam Chairman, may I ask a question before I give my report? There was a couple of blank places on the ballot. When will be time for us to make a suggestion?
I have unfinished business.
After, later, all right, I just don't want to miss that. We had our regular meeting in April. Miss Hayes from the Georgia Mental Health Institute spoke to us, gave us something. Well, really, she talked to us about their staffing philosophy, which was very interesting and a little disheartening, a little frightening, but I won't go into all of that. Our bylaws committee has, what I want to say, they have drawn up new rules for our section, and I have copies, and they need to be approved by this board. Actually, I have marked the changes. They were mostly editorial, except in one case where the district bylaws called for a second vice chairman, and our rules didn't, so we inserted that. I don't know what would be the proper procedure for getting this board to approve these, but I would like, for it to be done whenever, as soon as possible, so we can present them to our members for voting. Yes, really, that's, to conform with our bylaws. I have the copies, unless everybody would just be the time to. Not from what our bylaws say, as I interpreted it. It says under Article 12, Section Section 2. Well, Article 12 sections, and then Section 2 of that. Does everybody have it? B. This is functions of section shall include the following: to make rules for its government, provided these shall in no way conflict with the bylaws of this district, Georgia State Nurse Association, and the American Nurse Association, and shall be approved by the Board of Directors. There's nothing there about it going to the committee, but I have no objection. This is the only thing is, the chairman of the committee did all this work, and this will sort of throw our timetable out. We had hoped to get them to the members in June and let them vote in August.
Well, it would seem that there's no conflict. The bylaws, if this committee shall review the rules of all sections.
Where is that? Well, see, I was just looking under sections, and I'm sure that's what she did too. Miss Aiken did this. Well, I'll be glad for them to have them.
They were done 2 years ago. All the rules were reviewed by Ms. Langston at that time, but
The last thing,
AMA said not to make any real changes. They want to
there has not been any changes. I said they were editorial in one place where we added an officer which was provided in the 5th District bylaws, and we didn't have it, so. This is the last thing we could find was 1953. We have hunted high and low. And we could find state section rules, but we couldn't find any district section rules. So that was the reason we wanted to get something done. And I think there was some renumbering. How many copies, Ms. Hudson, would you like to have?
9 members.
Okay. Then, will they bring them back and then the board will approve? All right.
apply to the section, it would apply to the, that is, to the section rule. Now, it's read there by, Ms. Hastings, it says that they are to make their rules, so, then, there'd be no reason why the committee at its next meeting could not review it, and we can try to have it before the, next board meeting and bring it back. There's no
She said
reason
she
why it
wanted
can't
it
be
for
brought.
June.
Well, I
for
don't
the
have
end.
to have it, this is just what Ms. Aiken had planned. Actually, here under section 3 about sections, the officers, and this is where we got into trouble in our own section. Of a section shall be a chairman, a first vice chairman, a second vice chairman, and a secretary. Well, the last rules we had did not provide for the second vice chairman. We were just trying to get them, together.
Because your annual meeting is, you see the annual meeting's in August, and the board won't meet until September. This board.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, you've
nothing she
written
can do
this
about
out
it.
here as a complete rewrite, haven't you?
Miss Aiken's, yours, yes, they just copied it, I mean,
Well,
do you have one of these too?
Oh.
This is what they went by. I'll give you this. if you want.
No, we have some.
She, wrote in here the changes in the numbers and so forth.
Well, in,
Copy that, she should have.
would you mind making,
Yeah.
underline what you,
Change.
what change you'd like to have made and make it a lot simpler than reading the whole 8 pages.
These are rules.
Just underline the, changes you wish to have made, and that'll take care of it. Write it in, however.
Well, the changes have
Don't
been
make it
made, I
in
just
the-
underlined the
underscore
ones
what
that they
it was.
made.
Well, underscore the changes
Mhm.
then, because then it would obviate the necessity of reading the entire.
Ms. Hastings, did this complete your report?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for that report. Private duty, Ms. Rhodes?
The regular meeting of the Private Duty Section 5th District GSNA met Thursday, April the 28th, 1966, 4 p.m. at Crawford Long Nurses Home. 31 members present. A quorum was established. The minutes of the Executive Committee was read, of March the 9th was read. Motion was made that Private Duty Section 5th District GSNA go on record to oppose the new structure proposed by the ANA. For instance, because private duty will not have a representative on the board of directors. And this was also done in convention of the state section last fall. And they had other reasons too, and all are circulating, state is circulating a letter to all states, reminding them that they have no representation. There's another state that's already circulated the letter, so general duty and private duty, neither one have representation, and asking ignorant taxation without representation. And, motion was made to the bylaws committee that recommendation be written to the bylaws committee that the advisory committee to the register committee meet with the register committee upon invitation only by the register committee. And 2, a motion made that the district dues be increased so that all nurses could financially support the operation of the professional nurses register, since it is a community service and all nurses should share in the support of it. A motion was made for a call meeting of the section to consider a raise in fees for private duty nursing at the earliest possible date. That call meeting was last Friday. They had present, 94. And the recommendation from the private duty section that the private duty fees be increased from $20 to $25 for an 8-hour shift and that other fees such as dual and hourly nursing be worked out in proportion to the proposed rates to be effective June the 10th, 1966. The vote was 80 yes and 12 no and 2 illegal. Ms. Atkins, Ms. Mahaffey said she would send you the one to keep on file. That's just the resume of the regular meeting.
Motion regarding the, opposition to the new structure relates just to the private use section.
Yes, and that part.
And, motion made by bylaws committee with recommendation to be written to
To the
bylaws
bylaws.
committee, that the advisory committee to the registry committee meet with the registry committee upon invitation only by the registry committee.
They have already gone to the bylaws committee, both of them.
And then motion made that the district dues be increased so that all nurses who financially support the operation of the professional nurses registry CC is for financial service and all nurses should share the support. This relates to district dues. And it relates to the operation of the professional nurses registry.
What is the action that this board has? I'm a little confused about what, do we accept these, or are we being asked to, or is this just a report?
This is a report of a
Placed on the
section.
file?
Report of the section for board's consideration and
It seems to take action as to,
It does not, the action of the section was that it be referred to the bylaw committee. And the committee then will bring in its recommendation on both those.
as far as dues go to
Yes.
the bylaws committee, and that the support of the, of operation of the, yes, this would take all change for
Yes.
dues as well as the operation of the professional nurses registry.
May I ask a question on the fees? That can be initiated in any district, or do you have the approval of the state for the increase?
No, you have to set the fee in your own district.
Oh.
That's it,
Okay, that's,
Say it is
that's what, thanks.
And then the other motion is related to a call meeting which you have had, and from that, the private duty fees be increased from $20 to $25 for an 8-hour shift, and that other fees such as bills and hourly nursing be worked out in proportion to the proposed rate to be effective June 10th, 1966. This is a recommendation from private duty, and as I understand it, I believe the board here will have to take action. And as I see it, we need approval. We would need to give approval.
which aspect, Madam Chairman, we approve?
The last and separate recommendation that private duty fees be increased from $20 to $25 for an 8-hour shift. And the other fees to be effective June 10th, 1966. Today is May 9th, isn't it?
frightens me.
I'd like to pass out a breakdown here on, what, some of the.
The beginning salary, I hadn't remembered this amendment, because I didn't bring it mine. Was lowest to 1702, the beginning salary for the school nurse. And then there was, after 6 months, it was increased to 82 something per day. Then the degree, BS degree, I mentioned, I can't remember if, what she began, 18 something, and it was increased in 6 months, on evaluation. And then there was, after a year and a half, if, qualifying, her salary would be $20.43. Then the person who is an assistant to the head nurse, who could take over for the head nurse, which is the highest paid, is 23, 70, I believe, 76. Then there is a clinical specialist whose salary is higher than that, but, that figure, I don't know.
Miss Winnie, before you take the chair, I'd like to speak to Miss Mike, the other administrator, if I would.
I'd like to speak from the standpoint of nurse administrator and from the standpoint of a private duty nurse friend, and I'm concerned, I look at this from patient involvement. Now, I realize a lot of people have major medical, which covers in part the cost of private duty nurses. I realize we have the advent of Medicare coming. I don't believe that Medicare will cover the cost of private practice nurses. From my readings thus far, and I have scanned the literature, the nurse literature, as well as the hospital administration literature, for evidence of this for other purposes. I think that I have said, and I believe those of you who were in Joint Advisory Committee and Registry Committee did hear me say that there's some days, and I'm not being conceited when I say this, that 30 days was an inadequate, $30 would have been an adequate salary for my services as a private practice nurse on some instances 10 or 15 years ago. There are private practice nurses that are entitled to these kinds of financial considerations, I believe. I believe, on the other hand, that a number of people, like we just talked about, Mrs. Annette Bryant, you see, we have within our minds whether or not she should be practicing. We're promoting this lady's salary, if she nurses, $5 per day, which I believe is, if I say right, this is 25% increment. I do know that the hospital administrators, nurse administrators and hospital administrators really, for seemingly the first time in years, if ever, are listening to nurse administrators and people talk about salary. In my institution, our salaries are up 25% over 5 years ago, but it's taken us 5 years to come to this. And I think what these people are proposing is to do what it's taken organized groups to do for 5 years. I do not question the increment for the excellent nurse, the nurse who comes on duty and with the acute patient and is challenged by this patient's needs and renders the kind of service this patient needs. I do not question $25 per day. I do question a blanket increment for all members of the registry at this point.
I would take this part a little bit further and say the only reason that I let myself my name go out for president of this organization was that I kept saying, no single nurse can do this alone. We've got to do it together. The nurse administrator and the hospital administrator and the physician have got to talk about what the problems are. And that private duty and nursing administrators and hospital administrators and physicians are involved here. You see, I have to tell the patient how much it costs for a nurse. And $75 a day is very, very difficult for me to tell.